Ladies and gentlemen, as we shared with you, this is an industry keynote which will be shared by Ms. Kuppulakshmi K. She is the Global Head Zoho for Startups. Well, this promises to be a very interesting session because as we heard yesterday also and today also, and of course this is a Mahakumbh for startups. Startups are going to be the major drivers of economy, and as young minds come together, they will definitely pave a different way, a different road ahead for India. So here she is, and she will talk to you about Zoho for Startups. So please put your hands together and welcome Ms. Kuppulakshmi K.
Thank you and good morning everyone. Whoever's here in the audience, I will be talking to each one of you. To begin with the context and not really come and just deliver my plan, I thought I would look at each of you and if you're willing to do it, it'll be nice if you can do a show of hands. If you have students here in the audience, entrepreneurs, startups, and who will the remaining people be? Are you educationists? Educationists? Anybody else who wants to just say who you are? I will be able to make a few contextual references and we can talk outside. It'll be a good use of all of our time instead of me saying, okay, I will run through my 30 slides in the next 10 minutes given to me. Okay, so good to know, and this panel was in a kind of validation to what I wanted to share with you all this morning. Today, if you're sitting in the audience, I would encourage you to come and talk to my team that's outside, right outside the auditorium. On your left extreme, we have a Zoho for Startups panel, a booth put together. You have any kind of questions on how to use SaaS, software as a service, for your business of any vertical or any size, please come talk to us. Meanwhile, in the next few minutes, I thought, while my presentation is going to go up, I thought I would share with you some of the lessons I've learned as being part of the conversation in the startup space, in the technology space, and also primarily a woman in technology space, right? So many conferences back, there was this sentence that was put up fundamentally in the conversation. The human element of technology is far more important than the technology itself. So since morning and some of the conversations yesterday we had seem to reiterate one point constantly. There could be ChatGPT, there could be a lot of conversations around generative AI. We can talk a lot about the impending unemployment that's coming our way when half of India is not even skilled, right? So there's a lot of questions that need to be put into context. Instead of talking about a universal thing, I thought I'll just pick one thing and talk about how we are still in the crossroads of having to place the importance of emotional intelligence among us humans as we explore IQ. Like someone rightly said, we have democratized IQ enough, and that is something, a skill that can be learned. Emotional intelligence standing at the crossroad of software that's disruptive, that's innovative, the kind of words that startups and entrepreneurs use every day. We tend to conveniently or involuntarily ignore the other side of the same coin. That is, with every disruption, with every innovation, there's come a lot of change. Change means chaos. Change means newness that nobody knows about. So this is a lot of conversation where instead of us standing on the stage, dividing us into audience and speakers, imagine a situation where we are all sitting together and looking at a future together where some of you made a very pertinent point. How can we travel far if we have to travel alone? Correct? We all have to travel together. Even that means it slows our progress a bit in terms of how they put us in the race. AI is a beast, we heard. We talk about how language that has been fed into the systems as machine learning is more like a beast than as a friend. So what are we humans doing? Let's take a minute to introspect. Most of the time, the conversation is very projected to outside in wanting to show people what we know and wanting to tell people, okay, somewhere we are better than the other. Instead of that, if we can feel convenient to say that here is an impending chaos, What I have in my hand is a technology that I can use for the benefit of my own innovation. At the same time, not stop at that point and look at everyone and say, how can I use this in my capacity to empower someone and bring them to another stage in life. That's what we have been doing in Zoho. Contextually speaking, I'm here, I've been given the mic because I represent an organization that inherently believes in human first. So we are taking it in our own stride to see how an organization that is 11,000 people, 85 million users across the world, and 50 plus software application as part of our family. How do we even deal with this change? So I thought I would put a few pertinent points in front of you. And can you go to the next slide? So I'm just showing some of the numbers here because I know that sets the stage to have, okay, who is she? Why is she here and what is she going to talk about? So Zoho has been doing software applications. This has been our home ground. We have been home growing SaaS applications to suit any vertical of any kind of business of any size. And we have been giving homegrown, trustworthy, scalable, and very affordable software to every business out there. We have been able to, so I've been associated with Zoho since 2010 from a very important milestone where from just a handful of apps that helps businesses, we have grown into a family of 50 plus web and mobile applications. So we have been, a lot of people come and the premise of the conversation primarily has been, how has Zoho been able to do it, especially when you're bootstrapped? Especially when you are serving a large customer, that you're talking about cloud software. So fundamentally, it is not just about business, analytics, and numbers. Inherently, we have always believed in people-first culture. So right from the time when I have joined, I've had the privilege and the opportunity to interact with the top leadership on people who are defining how an organization should go forward. Today I'm sharing this because as entrepreneurs in our everyday busyness or someone who wants to bring about a change, it's very, very important to sit with our own principles and bring in a human element to say, whom am I serving? The people who want to use this technology, do they understand the language? Do they understand the jargon? Is it very affordable for them? This is the kind of conversation we have every day in Zoho as part of our marketing strategy. So along with numbers, there's a lot of intangible elements that the leadership brings in for that has helped us to be one of the pioneers in the SaaS field today. Can we go to the next slide, please? So, some of the core values and principles that drive us today is, by design, we are not anywhere going to accept external money that is funding, and we are going to principally remain bootstrapped even as we going to touch 90 million users across the world. This is also because we want to focus on customer delight. We always want to keep doing what we are doing instead of having a lot of people on board and having to say what should be our priority. So having this primary mission that we are not going to change has helped us establish a few anchor points that is very, very essential for culture and innovation. A lot of times that begins in school, right? Most of the time in the terms of discipline and obedience, a lot of times we are trimmed off of the capacity to think out of the box. And suddenly when we are out of school and into college and we are part of an entrepreneur cell, we are encouraged to embrace chaos. We are encouraged to think out of the box, ask uncomfortable questions, and suddenly there is disruption. And we are left to ourselves to deal with all the mental health and all the chaos that comes from within. Now, we should not escape this inherent part of what disruption brings by just looking at numbers. As entrepreneurs, it will be nice if you use any of your tools, like a presentation tool. I would encourage you to talk to the next funding person about the vulnerability, about the challenges that you have overcome. A tool is only as powerful as what is in your hands, right? Each of you are responsible to understand how to use the tool in your hands. So in Hindi they say, सब कुछ आपके हाथ में है, सब कुछ मेरे हाथ में नहीं है, भगवान के हाथ में है. No, we cannot say that. We have to be inherently responsible for the changes that we bring. So look around you, see how the tool can use in giving someone new employment or to make a presentation that talks something beyond numbers, a sheet that is very, very transparent at the same time, inherently blessed with data that you have been working on many years, something that we do in Zoho day in and day out. I want to go to the slide by Sridhar sir. So this has been possible primarily because we have a top-down approach, only in terms of passing down the principle and time and again reminding ourselves why we do what we do so that we can do how we do what we do better. So this is our CEO, a very simple person who was recently conferred upon one of the highest civilian awards called Padma Shri. So I've had the opportunity to know him from the time I joined Zoho when we were just 1,500 people, and I got some of the principles directly first-hand mentored by him, where the simplicity in how we present the software to people who don't speak software language. How do you translate that into someone who is sitting on the other end of the spectrum without using jargons, without using some of the core marketing strategy that is actually addressed to a tech-savvy founder, right? So we have to be very, very, number one principle of emotionally intelligent people is being self-aware, to understand who in the audience is you're looking at. Can you customize some of the content to not look down upon, but at the same time not make it too simplistic for people saying, हाँ चलो Zoho से subscription ले लेते हैं and सब कुछ automate हो जाएगा. That's not how technology also works. It brings in itself a change, a slight discomfort, something that is okay, you know, when you touch something you're not going to break the data. So this is something that's inherent part of the story that I encourage all of you, irrespective of which background that you're coming in. And if you want to have a more contextual conversation, we'll be around till the end of the day, and I'll be happy to hear from you and share some of the core lessons. And via the Zoho for Startups program, can we stop for a minute in the family of apps? The next couple of slides. Yeah. So we have been able to look at the industry starting from dog feeding. So when I joined, we wanted a platform to talk among the other employees to see where ideas can come from. Ideas can come from anywhere. So someone who is sitting on the end spectrum as a user can come up with one of the features that we actually need for the next market innovation. So we have been able to grow year after year into a family of apps only because we spent enough time looking outward and spending enough time looking inward. So we did a lot of dog feeding of our own projects. So even in my phone, I have a lot of work apps that help me be the user, help me be the critique that the organization needs. So however busy we are, we take time to share feedback on what could be done as me as the employee of the organization, also as the end user of each of these software products. So culturally, we believe in a very flat hierarchy. We don't really understand why someone in a VP position has to sit in a cubicle where you can't even reach that person, him or her. And this is once again counterproductive to your own innovation and disruption. So any startup who's starting from an early stage, from your first founder circle, when you go on to hire the second or third level of people, let's keep in mind the collaborative mindset and to understand that ideas can come from anywhere. Because when we get very close to your own idea, sometimes it kills the the collaborative spirit that comes with a startup, given how busy you have to be, how versatile you have to be, how you have to be multitasking all at the same time. So today we have been able to touch 85 million users because of the variety that we offer and because of the depth that we offer. So each of these apps are tightly integrated. It caters to your business irrespective of your operation, whether it's sales and marketing, or it's communication and collaboration, or you want to take care of your data, or you want to manage your people, or you want to manage all your assets, right, the money. Primarily, this is how basic classification of a business happens. And we are a cloud-based company, so you will be able to use both web-based apps and mobile apps. Today, my core conversation, I wanted to tell you all, to skip a few slides and we can go to Zoho for Startups. Via this program in India, we have been able to work with 100 plus incubators, accelerators, co-working spaces and government bodies who inherently support the startup ecosystem. So we launched this program about 5 years back, and keeping in mind the 2 years of core impact of COVID, where some of the startups had to shut shop, and now they have come back with an invigorated spirit to have more disruptions happening. So we have been able to impact 9,000 startups at least in India. We've had real conversations with these people on how you can automate some of your business, how you can keep in mind your core cultural principles by using these collaborative tools that in your hands, you can ask for ideas from different strata of your organization. And here are some of the apps from the 50 plus apps that early stage startups use. These are very, very popular. Sure, can you give me 1 more minute and I'll wind up. I'm also going to be outside, so, right? I am going to have my colleague come right after me. So I'm going to keep the answer very simple, but I would definitely want to have a conversation at length outside too. I hope that's okay. So via the Zoho for Startups program, can you go to the part where we offer? In order to be able to have a conversation with early stage startup, in order to make the network a little more tight on, okay, we are here giving software applications, but can we be disconnected with what kind of innovations, what kind of conversations that are moving from an idea stage to a minimum viable product in order to be able to give more context to the software that we sell. We work via these incubators and collaborators, and this is just a snapshot just to show the impact of the work that we have done via the Zoho for Startups program. But Zoho as a larger organization works with all kinds of businesses, right from solopreneur to we have enterprises as large as 15,000 people using Zoho day in and day out. So via the Zoho for Startups program, we give a wallet credit, which we want you to understand by doing a little bit research. Step 1, if you can visit zoho.com and understand who we are, what we do, what is the press talking about us, what are some of the industry analysts talking about us, because the blessing or the curse that we have is we like to blow our own trumpet, right? So in order to understand a critical point of view on whether you can choose Zoho or not, it's best to make your own decisions, right? So in order to make this easy, we have created a sandbox-like setup where we give you some credits. And if you are an early stage startup, you will need 4 or 5 apps from us. You can use these credits to purchase these applications from us and use it for free for a period of 1 year. And after which you can make smart decisions on whether you want to continue subscriptions with us, what kind of apps you would need, and have more informed conversations, because a blessing is 50 plus apps, which can also be overwhelming. Right? It's like walking into a restaurant you've never been to before and saying, okay, I need a smart chef who will not talk down to me, but help me explore this entire buffet of apps. Who would not love that? So come have a conversation with us, tell us your story, and we will be able to help you on how you can use these wallet credits to get started if you choose Zoho, right? So I want to stay in this slide for just for a second. So we will be able to share this with all of the audience, but feel free to take a screenshot or come talk to us in our booth. We will be able to have a more informed conversation. Some of the places, so info@zohoforstartups.com is where you can write to us, and you can also follow us on social media. You can go to the last 2 slides, please, the one that's in yellow and black. So as part of someone who wants to establish a connection with you all, understand the story, I'm just seeing myself sitting there in the audience and looking at this message. The next slide, the yellow and black one. This is something we all wake up to in Zoho, to understand and not get carried away with what the life gives us, and when we have the power to change people's life, when we give them software, when we automate their life, when we say that all the products that we give are scalable and trustworthy. So this is very important to keep in mind. This is a reminder that most of us wake up to in Zoho, to do our jobs really well and not make the mistake of talking down to anyone, and make technology as a bridge between people, and make our best efforts to not leave behind a large set of population who still has to grapple the word technology and not look at it as a beast. So both of it are different sides of the same coin. One speaks to the logical side of it, Peter Drucker. Other speaks to the customer delight, customer satisfaction, the heart side of it, both of which is very, very important for an entrepreneur, right? To have the balance between the mind and the heart. Go to the next slide, please. So please take these tools in your hand as a friendly request. Use your human self to see how you can use the power and the privilege to also look at the responsible side of using these tools. Ask informed questions, come with a collaborative mindset, and we will be able to see how we change the language in which we use. We will not be anymore talking about how AI will change the future. Instead, we will truly be able to put humans first, be comfortable in the slowness and the steadiness of the progress that we are making, something that we inherently strive in Zoho hierarchically. So EQ is something I would encourage you all to focus on. Be more self-aware so that you can be more socially aware. Something that's very, very important in marketing and sales. If you go to a region, you have to speak the language. You have to understand what is going on at that point to have a contextual sale or a contextual marketing strategy. So use all of this to become the true leaders that we need at this moment, so that far beyond the low-hanging fruit, we can go and really reskill some parts of the rural India. Zoho has been working on transnational localism, and we have been building schools in rural villages in order to not go into the wave of copying a Silicon Valley in India, but understand what India is capable of and come with a new generation of people who are reskilled and upskilled, so that we write our own language of a truly developed nation and progress. So as entrepreneurs, we all understand that we are change makers. We are relatives to someone, friends to someone. Something that we unintentionally forget is we also are the citizens of this country. So I welcome you all to set reminders to all of ourselves, encourage each other to climb up this ladder of remembering the human element of technology, and speak proudly and courageously of all of this innovation that you're bringing to the fore, and try to hold on to the positive spectrum of change and not be subject ourselves to the chaos and beast that the changes will bring. We are in this together, and as a representative of Zoho, we promise that we will do what's in our capacity to help your life better from the quality software that we offer you all. So thank you so much for listening, and if any of you have questions, I think I will take it outside. That's the way it is. And thank you so much on behalf of all of us at Zoho. Thank you for listening.